Previously on the last Pokemon Crystal SuperMON run. All I can imagine is a donkey trying to live-action roleplay as the Loch Ness Monster. And coming up. It is now the next day and I've just whacked myself over the head with a microphone. Welcome back to the SuperMON Challenge. This is the series where we take a Pokemon, give it 4 moves and 1 chance, and see just how far we can make it through the course of the run. If you do enjoy these SuperMON videos, please do make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see even more of them, and if you'd like to see the SuperMON runs a slight bit earlier than everybody else, you can always join the channel membership and become a HM friend. As soon as the SuperMON videos are ready, they go up on YouTube. But now I'll pass you to the live run with Rhydon. I was looking through the comments of one of our past SuperMON runs together, and a lovely commenter called Anditesh Ordo, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly by the way, suggested Rhydon. And I took one look at the learn set and thought, yes, we have to play Rhydon quick and now. And looking at that learn set, I'm a little bit stumped. I don't know how we're going to play Rhydon yet. We've got huge physical attack, 130, plus quite good physical defense in 120, but we've got very paltry special attack and special defense. And if we look at those moves, a lot of the good moves are special moves. I think Earthquake is going to be guaranteed, probably Rock Slide as well, and we'll deal with the 90% accuracy. But I don't know what I'm going to do for the other 2 move slots yet. There are quite a few options we could take. We could grab Body Slam and run 3 physical moves and then maybe a special move for a bit of coverage, but I am unsure. Another idea is to run Flamethrower so that we can pretty much guarantee getting through Jasmine, because I think Iron Tail will hurt even with 120 in physical defense. Again, this is probably a Pokemon where unless we get very lucky, we're going to make the wrong choices on our first attempt, and we're going to have to take a redo. And in fact, I'm going to get the cheaty type checker out again. Let us see, if we just go for Rock, Ground, and Normal, what is resisted? Nothing is resisted. That is interesting. That means we could potentially run Sunny Day in slot 4. Now, Sunny Day will give us something to at least protect us from the Water-type moves that will inevitably hit us. I'm not that worried about Grass-type moves, I've got to be honest. I think we should be able to get through fairly easily. Looking at this particular type combination of moves, I think we should be fairly good, maybe question mark. We shall have to see, but I am thinking instead of the initial thought, which was to have a special move, we might just go for Sunny Day. So there is no time like the present, let us grab those moves. The first one in the list is Earthquake, very good move. It's going to be incredibly powerful once we are past Falconer anyway, because of course we can't use it for Falconer annoyingly. The next one is going to be Rock Slide, that's fairly down the list, so we've got quite some ways to go. 90 accuracy is worrying me, but it is still a fairly strong stab move. I don't think we have the speed to use Headbutt, otherwise I would have taken Headbutt in place of Body Slam. I think we've got more than enough in our attack to justify Headbutt, but that speed means it probably wouldn't do too much good. We'll put that in slot 4, and then we will nab Sunny Day in slot 1 as well. I'm still not sold on the Sunny Day strat myself, but I can't think of anything better quite at the moment. So here are our moves and our learn set. We are 27 HP at level 5, holding a berry with Earthquake, Rock Slide, Sunny Day and Body Slam. 19 in attack, 18 in defense, 11 in the specials, and 10 in speed. We've got perfect DVs for this Pokemon, and we are in the slow experience group. Will that be enough to get us through to the end? Let me know just how far you think we'll get, and we will get this challenge underway. Now, one of the benefits of running SuperMON as opposed to time challenge runs for me at the moment is it means that if I'm in flare-up like I am at the moment with my Crones, I don't have to worry so much about the recording sessions, because behind the scenes and under the hood, everything works completely differently. With the timed runs that we do, I sit down for one recording session and get it all done in one big lot. And then I edit it down afterwards. I do my little Kanto chat, the intro, the outro, and that is the video all done. For this, I edit as I go. So every time I record a clip, I put it into the video, do try and smooth things out a little bit as well. And it does mean if I need to take a break because I'm in significant pain or other things are happening that I won't gross you out with, it gives me that option because I'm not then having to pause the timer, redo a recording bit, redo a clip, maybe even go back to the start of the challenge because the timer desynced itself too badly. There's an awful lot that makes the process easier while also providing a lot harder challenge. Now, SuperMON is going to be the main focus of the channel until the end of the year, and then we're going to be doing one SuperMON video a week from the new year, providing, of course, that my health keeps up. Everything to do with my health is a giant asterisk, unfortunately, and that has made me think, actually, in recent years, I've been trying to be a bit more forthcoming with the struggles that I face. Because having an invisible disability such as Crohn's, a lot of the time you kind of look like you're not struggling on the surface and it's very easy to mask. But, let me tell you, it's not the most pleasant thing in the world. However, it's like anything, you have to learn to try and find workarounds and accept that that is just the cards you were dealt. And that is exactly what I have done with it. It does mean that from time to time, I'm going to be so fatigued and so brain foggy that I just cannot record a time challenge. But with SuperMON, I can take it in nice little bite-sized chunks. So for instance, this clip is recorded about 20 minutes after the last clip. And I did very subtly, actually, change the rival's starter because I realised he was going to have Cyndaquil before. So my brain fog messed up the starter selection, but thank goodness it was at the very beginning of a run, so I didn't have to worry about getting too far back in the game before noticing the error. I'm very glad it was like that and not the times where hidden power has meant I've had to restart a run, because I'd picked the wrong hidden power type and I hadn't noticed it until we went to use hidden power and it was the wrong type of move. That's happened far more times than I care to admit, honestly, and it's just one of the risks, especially when you're not that good at reading like me. It's one of the risks that you have to deal with a challenge run. Now we are already getting towards our first gym together. I think Falconer could potentially pose a bit of a threat if Mudslap hits us too often. So we will just have to hope that Mudslap doesn't hit us too often. It's nice to not have to worry about Birdkeeper Abe, his Spearow can do nothing at all to us. And we shall take on Rod as well before healing. Again, I don't think there's anything that Rod can do. He's got birds, he has just normal type moves. And we have oodles of defense, 29 defense already in fact. So let's now take on Falconer. He is our first gym leader together. A flying type specialist with a bit of a penchant for the old ground type moves. Led with Pidgey that went down. First Mudslap has hit. Second Mudslap has hit, but Rock Slide has connected. And we defeat Falconer. We obtain our first badge. We get up to 5 points because the points are lying for some reason. Well, that's the lies sorted and something to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that means we can start heading straight towards Azalea Town. Now, I don't think it would be a good idea to take on Sprout Tower at the moment, even though Rhydon is a 6 foot tall, solid rock dinosaur. It does have a deep-rooted phobia of teeny tiny little plants that are owned by sages, so we are going to hold off on that for now until we've got a few more levels to make sure that Vine Whip does not do that much damage. So that means we are going to have to find our levels elsewhere before we get to Bugsy. The good news is there are a lot of trainers en route who we can easily take care of. Like this bird keeper, he's going to get us very close to level 12. Plus, we do have to, of course, do all of Slowpoke well. So I don't think we'll be facing any level cap issues, even though we are in the slow experience group, and we can even take on Pokemon like this Onyx and one-shot it, which is something that doesn't happen too often with a physical move. And in fact, as we are exiting the Union Cave, we are already up to level 14, and we're going to get even more experience because of this Vulpix. I do actually quite like having the opportunity to take on all the trainers in Union Cave. It gives us a little bit of extra money, and money's something I think about a lot in these challenges, because the more money we have, the more vitamins we can buy, the better our stat experience does get. But now we have made it into Azalea Town, and that means there's just one thing to do, and that is get through the bloomin' Slowpoke Well. It's our first of 3 rocket sections. This one isn't so bad, but they get exponentially longer the further through the challenge you go. And by the time you get to the end of the radio tower, you're just thinking, can we do anything else at all, please? But hopefully we won't have any issues at all with any of the rockets today. I think having both the rock and the ground type working in our favour means there isn't a single Pokemon that Team Rocket has that will be able to do much damage to us, apart from maybe the occasional oddish line that comes up with some of the executives. I can never remember their names. I know they got names in Generation 4, but in Generation 2 they are all just nameless grunts and executives, and I think I kind of like it that way. It gives them an air of mystiquery they wouldn't otherwise have. But with Team Rockets now all defeated, we have our 6th point, and we can take on Bugsy next. We took 0 damage at all from any of the gym trainers. I think we'll take a tiny bit of damage from Bugsy himself, but nothing to worry about too much. We'll get through Metapod in 2 shots. We'll use Earthquake on the Kakuna and get a lucky critical hit. It could have been a 2-shot otherwise. And then we have a quad super effective Rock Slide for his Scyther. What a very nice battle. Another 3 points on the board, taking us up to 9. And now we can do our prep work for Rival 2. Rival 2 does, of course, have that very, very pesky Croconaw with Water Gun at this point. So we're going to backtrack, and now is the time we're going to take on the Sprout Tower. Now, it may have only gained us 1 extra level, but as they say, every little helps, and it could give us the slight edge over the rival. We do still have to get through Elderly at the very top of the tower, though. But we will have no issues. Of course, we outspeed the Bellsprout and we can one-shot them. And then this Hoothoot's not going to be able to do anything, even if it could get a hit off. That does give us both Flash and the Lantern. And we can get the key item escape rope as well to get out of here and get back to Azalea. I decided against wearing a rappel in the Union Cave on the way back, and we got up to level 18. Hopefully that will be enough to see us through this rival battle fairly easily. We get through Ghastly in 1 shot, we outspeed the Croconaw and we get rid of it in 1 hit as well, and that means we can Rock Slide the Zubat. So we didn't need to worry about Rival 2. I'd be very interested to see, though, if that would have been the same case if we'd have gone in at level 16. Playing safely probably paid off there. And now we can reunite the Farfetch'd with its human yet again for another challenge. It's very good at getting lost, and we can make our way through the rest of the forest. And looking ahead to the next couple of gym battles, I think we'll have a very smooth ride through this early-mid part of the Johto challenge. I can't see Whitney proving to be any issue at all, unless, of course, that pesky Clefairy metronomes something incredibly devastating, maybe a Hydro Pump or something, and then we shouldn't have any issues at Morty. We will hold on to the Mince Berry just in case for that battle. But after that, I think it's going to get tough again, but we're not going to look too far ahead in this challenge. I have very much learned doing the SuperMON challenge to keep my feet on the ground at all times. If I get too far ahead of myself, like I did with the Parasect challenge, that's where things start to go a little bit wrong. I have just noticed I am on the wrong overlay for these couple of clips. There we go. This is the overlay we should have for the SuperMON, goodness me. But as I was saying, the mindset is completely different for a SuperMON run versus a timed challenge run. In a timed challenge run, I'm always thinking quite far ahead. So for instance, if I'm taking on Whitney, I'm already thinking, how am I going to defeat Chuck? How am I going to defeat Pryce? How am I going to defeat Jasmine? Because you have to go incredibly quickly. But in these runs, I'm thinking, what are the potential pitfalls? In other words, what could go wrong in our next big battle? Most of the overworld trainers that aren't key trainers, they're absolutely fine. They're underleveled. You can outspeed most of them. But for someone like Whitney, who is a gym leader, what are the potential issues we could come up against? Firstly, we could get something from the Clefairy, maybe a Bubble Beam, maybe a Hydro Pump, maybe even a Solar Beam, and if we don't one-shot the Clefairy then, we will end up getting knocked out ourselves. And for something like the Miltank, she could go for Attract. She could try and stall and lock us and stop us being able to attack her, and then eventually grind down a victory for her. So that is the thought process that is going into SuperMON, and it is still a steep learning curve. I'm having to relearn how I play Pokemon Crystal, while not forgetting the timed run strats, because we're still doing timed runs as well. And overall, my brain just hurts. Let's now take Whitney on though. She is our third gym leader, a normal type specialist led with Clefairy. Clefairy's gone for Double Slap. I probably should have Earthquakes there. We will Earthquake the cow. She's gone for Stomp into Rollout. She has thrown. No need to worry at all there. It was a very, very low chance of losing against Whitney. But that does mean we have the plain badge and 14 points to our name. And now we have made our base in Air Critique for a little while, and I'm trying to figure out who I want to take on to get us closer to the level cap. I think this Bird Keeper would be a good idea because he doesn't have anything to really hit us very hard at all. And we get a lot of attack stat experience from him, growing up to level 21. We do want the Mint Berry, so it makes logical sense to go west first. So we will probably not go all the way into Olivine, but we will at the very least grab the Mint Berry from the tree, and then I reckon going east is going to give us a slightly better chance of some easy free levels, and we can keep all of these for in between Morty and Chuck. It's quite amazing as well actually how different the mindset is run to run with the SuperMON challenge. For instance, in our last run Lapras, I was feeling pretty confident throughout. I knew that Lapras can have a good time in Generation 2. It's got enough learn set diversity and the stats to back it up. But when we took on Parasect, I was terrified the entire way through, because Parasect, much like Rhydon, has quite a big 4x weakness. In fact, they both have 2. So I really had to be very careful about who I battled and what I was doing. And it's the same thing in this run as well. Instead of taking it a little bit easy, I'm having to play incredibly smart. We all know that's not really my forte. So I am very much hoping that Rhydon will kind of play itself for most of this challenge, especially with the physical attacks. I think it'll be absolutely fine. It's Pokemon like this Slowbro though that I probably shouldn't be taking on. However, I think we could outspeed and just about knock it out. That was a lot closer than it ought to have been, and definitely could have ended up in a reset if we'd have got a critical hit on us. But we just about scraped through there, goodness me. I shouldn't be taking these risks on these challenges, but I am so used to the original style of challenge running that sometimes I need to engage my brain a little bit before I walk in front of a trainer. And that slow experience group really is starting to rear its ugly head here. It took an extra trainer to get up to the new level cap for the rival. I'm hoping that this one won't prove to be too bad either. I am going to, and it probably isn't worth it, but I am going to hold on to a berry just in case the rival hits us with a hard water type move and we end up going down. Let's engage him in battle. He leads with Haunter. Haunter is of course going to put a curse on us, and up next is Croconaw. We one-shot the Croconaw, so we don't need to worry about that. We will use Rock Slide on the Zubat. We've got Earthquake for the Magnemite, and that is a nice rival battle. No need for Sunny Day there. Earthquake was just about capable enough of disposing of the Croconaw. And now getting through Rival 3 does mean we can take on Morty. We are going to do a slight bit of prep work for Morty though. We are going to use a HP up because our HP is currently a multiple of 4, and now you can see it's a multiple of 1. We are going to use one of our berries, well our last berry there, to get us up to full health, and we are also going to equip the Mint Berry. Now before taking on Morty, I am thinking of the different permutations that might happen with this battle. There's a chance we go down because we get sent to sleep multiple times. There is a chance we go down because we get sent to sleep and we are cursed. And there's also a chance we go down just in general. Now, we're not going to be able to outspeed all of his team. That is guaranteed. But I think the Mint Berry is going to be better than the Quick Claw, because if we get unlucky with a Quick Claw, we won't get a single activation. This gives us a better safety net for the event of a Hypnosis by the Gengar or one of the Haunters. So I think the Mint Berry is the way to go here. And we shall now put that theory to the test as we engage Morty in battle. He is our 4th gym leader together today, a Ghost-type specialist who leads with Ghastly. We outspeed the Ghastly so we're not getting cursed. Nightshade is interesting, I wasn't expecting that. And there is the Cursing Haunter. But we are fine because of turn order and Pokemon order, and the Hypnosis didn't affect us because of the Mint Berry. That means we are through Morty, we gain 5 levels to our level cap, and we have 19 points. We've made it into Olivine and we have started climbing the lighthouse now in our endeavour to get as many levels as possible before we go into our next gym. And of course, at the very top of the lighthouse, we are going to be meeting up with a very, very old friend of ours, Jasmine. She is just as much of a liar as Lance is, but we still don't have the evidence to pin on her. One day we will find that evidence, but that day is not today. We do still have a couple of levels to go until we hit that level 30 cap though, so I have a feeling there'll be a lot of trainer battles in the sea today, and hopefully not too many near misses. Now there is a place we can go to get a bunch of experience points that I somehow managed to forget. We didn't do the Kimono Girls when we were in Ecruteak, so thank goodness this isn't a time challenge, because that could have been a bit of a run ender there. As it stands though, going in at a higher level for the Kimono Girls could be a very, very good idea, because it means that even a Pokemon like this Umbreon will go down in 2 shots fairly easily, and because they are trainer battles and fully evolved Pokemon, we are getting an awful lot of experience. We're going to use an Earthquake on this Vaporeon just to play it safe, and then we'll have 0 issues at all against the Jolteon. Sand Attack is fine, I think that's literally the only thing it's going to do. We eventually connect with a Body Slam. We get ourselves the Raft and an extra point to boot with that as well. Swimmer Kaylee got us up to level 30, so we say thank you to her and her goldfish for that. And it is now time for us to meet our doom. I don't know why I'm feeling quite so nervous about the fighting type gym. We do have 120 in defense, but things could easily get out of hand here. Jump Kick did a lot of damage from that first Hitmonlee, and thank goodness this Hitmonchan doesn't have very good physical moves. It doesn't have very good physical defense either. We get rid of it in 1 shot, and now the rest of the gym trainers at least should be easy. And just as we thought the rest of the gym trainers were easy, now we have more choices to make for Chuck. There are a few ways we could play this battle. We could either go brute force, or we can try setting up Sunny Day and hoping that Leah doesn't hit. My worry is if we don't set up Sunny Day, we're not going to outspeed the Poliwrath, and it's going to one-shot us with Surf. If we don't set up Sunny Day, that is a real possibility. If we do set up Sunny Day, he's going to go for D-Punch. We've got the Bitterberry, which should negate at least the confusion if D-Punch hits, but we could get leered by the Primeape. So do we want to try and get rid of the Primeape in 1? If we do that, we're probably not going to outspeed the Poliwrath. So we're in a bit of a vicious cycle of terrible choices here. There's no safe way to get through this battle, so we've just got to see what on earth will happen. I will be very honest with you all, I still don't know how I'm going to play this battle. I've been deliberating for a few minutes, going round in circles. We're just going to see what goes on. We will set up a Sunny Day. Fury Swipes is interesting. We also don't outspeed the Primeape. Karate Chop did a little bit of damage, but he didn't go for Leah. That means that we can now 2 shots the Poliwrath. He didn't go for Surf straight away, and we get the Storm Badge. So overall, that went about as well as it could have done. 23 points on the board now, and I can get on with a bit of housekeeping. One bit of housekeeping later and we are at the Red Gyarados. I'd be worried if this thing had a water-type move, but as far as I'm aware it doesn't. Rock Slide has missed though, which is slightly annoying, doesn't mean anything in the end. We do get the red scale and that means we have a chat with Lance. And that does unfortunately mean there are yet more pointless rockets to come. They are living here in the underground of the dodgy shop in Mahogany. Let's race through them and get to the very end. Well, that was like pulling bloomin' teeth. The good thing is, 2 of those Electrode went boom, so we got through those battles a little bit quicker than we otherwise would have done. So I didn't have to linger too long in that final section. We do get a whole point for doing that, so it isn't just for show. And we also now get the privilege of taking Pryce on. He is our 6th gym leader, an Ice-type specialist who leads with Seal. We'll use an Earthquake against the Seal, we'll get rid of it in 1. Out comes Piloswine. Fury attack is a little bit silly from Pryce there. He does have Blizzard. He should have gone from that, because that does now mean we have the win guaranteed. What a very, very plain and simple Pryce battle. 27 points on the board and a huge increase in level cap, but we have literally no trainers between us and the next gym leader. And that gym leader is, of course, the one and only secret potion specialist, Jasmine. She's lying about giving that secret potion to Amphi once more. We will take chase and we will take her on. Now again, this is one of those gyms where we could go down. However, unlike with Chuck, we don't really have any strategy. The only plan is to hope for the best with Earthquake. Is this going to be the end of the run? We shall find out. This is Jasmine. She's our 7th gym leader. Steel-type specialist, leads with Magnemite. Magnemite goes down. Here is that big and bulky Steelix. Iron Tail hits, but she doesn't get the defense drop. I think we've won this. I'm not sure we would have survived a crit, but she didn't get one, and that is all that matters. So we now have 30 points on the board, and 9 levels to play with the level cap. That means there are an awful lot of trainers that are going to need beating up before we take on Claire. We do have the radio tower section, which is another big old slog of a rocket section, but I'm also going to spend some time taking on all of the trainers in the newly unlocked routes. Those trainers and the first part of the rocket section got us to the dizzying heights of level 37. And that does mean we are now going to engage the rival in battle for a 4th time. This time he will lead with Golbat. We do not outspeed the Golbat, but he has swapped for some reason. That just means we can get rid of the Feraligatr without taking any damage. He's confused us, which is annoying. However, we have a lot of physical defense. We are confused no more. We have body slammed the Golbat there. I didn't want to take the risk with Rock Slide's accuracy. And we're on to the Haunter. Haunter swearing at us, so we are now on a clock for the rest of the battle, but the rest of his Pokemon are fairly easy. We've got a Magnemite with a quad weakness and a Sneasel with paper-thin defences. So that gets us up to 32 points now. And this is where I'm calling the run for the night. Not that it will make any difference to all of you, but it's about 2:30 in the morning and I am knackered. Yes, Jinx, I'm awake. That's my Jinx alarm clock, by the way. It gets me awake because it's the most annoying sound in the world. But good morning, everybody. It is now the next day, and I've just whacked myself over the head with a microphone, so I really hope that isn't an omen of things to come for the next part of this challenge. We are, however, now ready to take on the final Rocket Executive at the very top of the radio tower. I made a little bit of progress before going to sleep, but I saved this one until I could be back together with you and being a little bit more conscious. So this should be an easy battle. We might get outsped by the Houndoom, but that's really the only worry we've got. We picked up the soft sand off camera as well, and yeah, very easy battle there. That means we have cleared the Rockets for yet another challenge. We get up to 33 points, and we can move on. Before going into Blackthorn City to take out of the gym, I do just want to have a little chat with Arthur of Thursday here. I swapped the days, and that gives us the hard stone. Now that is going to boost our rock type moves. We very rarely see actually the hard stone, but it could come in useful for this challenge, especially if we get to Lance. It is all about the ifs at this stage though. We have what could be a tricky gym coming up now here with Claire. We've got to get through the gym trainers first. And my big concern is our lack of speed once more. I think that's the only thing really holding us back at the moment. We have more than enough offensive capabilities to normally one or two shot Pokemon, so we don't really have to worry about doing the damage. It's the damage being dealt to us that is going to be the issue throughout the next part of this challenge, I think, especially because we've got a lot of water type moves coming up, just like that. That was a water gun, not anything stronger, from just a Seadra, and it did well over half health. So we are going to have to play very, very, very smart for the Claire battle. We do still have a couple more trainers left to go before we even get to Claire though. And it was good to see there that we did outspeed a Dragonair at level 37. That gives me a little bit of hope for Claire. And now before we take Claire on, let's try and work our way through the different ways this battle could go. I think we're going to need to set up Sunny Day on turn 1 regardless, because she's probably going to send her Kingdra out. She might do a swap, or she might just wait for her first Dragonair to faint. We don't need to worry about Thunder Wave, because we are the ground type, so we're not going to get paralysed via Thunder Wave. That means we can hold on to something like the Quick Claw instead of Soft Sand, try and get a lucky Quick Claw proc on the Kingdra and do a lot of damage. I think Body Slam into Earthquake is probably the right play for Kingdra, because that means we don't have to worry about any healing loops, and there's the potential to paralyse the Kingdra, completely incapacitate it, and we will then definitely outspeed it on the next turn. But she's got Surf on 2 Pokemon, and she's got Ice Beam on another Pokemon. Things could go wrong. I don't know how this battle is going to go. I'm mentally preparing for this to be the end of the challenge. We will have to wait and see. And now this battle is being voiced in post-production, and that's because it's bonfire nights here in the United Kingdom, and a firework was just slightly too loud and it completely threw me, and I said a naughty word. So I am not allowing a naughty word going out on a pre-recorded video here on the channel, but we did get the luck we needed. I don't think without the paralysis luck there we would have got through. I think the Kingdra would have one-shot us, but all that matters is we got through and we live to fight another day, and we get another gym badge and another set of points, providing we can of course get through this very, very dangerous Magikarp. Let's stick on another rappel and let us now face the real trainer who gives us the 8th badge. That is of course cool trainer Darren here, who is so pesky, sneaking up on you as soon as you get out of the Dragon's Den. We have the Bath Plug, hopefully to get through this Whirlpool, and we will now go and answer that brief little survey as we always do. So it's 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that will get us the next badge. So Claire enters into the Dragon's Den, she gets very shocked as she always does, and she gives us the badge, but more importantly, she gives us 3 extra points. We're up to 36 points now, well over halfway, well over a third of the way through the potential points of this challenge. Now, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it in a post voiceover dub of the Claire battle, because I'm recording this back in real time. It is bonfire nights here in the United Kingdom, and that means there are fireworks all around. I'm going to try and do my best to minimise them coming through in this recording, but there is a chance that some of them will sneak through, probably scare the bejesus out of me as well, like that one did during the Claire battle. And hopefully we will just learn to not notice them. It's that time of year where there is no good time for recordings, because they happen all the bloomin' time, and it gets on my nerves, but there's not much we can do. Now, as we are making our way through some of the trainers here on route to Victory Road, I want to address a couple of things that have come up in the comments. The first is about banning Hidden Power and Return. Now, that was a conscious choice on my part when I started this series, and the reason I've banned them is because they are near universal TMs. Virtually every Pokemon can learn both of those moves, and they are both damaging moves. One of which is a very, very high-powered move, and the other of which has the answer for a lot of coverage issues, so both of them would make this particular style of challenge a lot less interesting. I also think it would make the challenge far too easy, in contrast to our timed runs, where we're doing literally everything we can to defeat Red as fast as we can. On this challenge, we are trying to get as far as we can, using the most interesting and kind of weirdest techniques we can. So the aim of this series is not to defeat Red. The aim is to just see how far we can get and how many points we can score. And that brings me on to the other thing that's been mentioned a couple of times, the scoring system. I did deliberate doing a more complex scoring system where we factor in things like type advantages, but it just did not make much sense on first glance. And I tried to keep the scoring as simple as possible so that it doesn't get too complex, it doesn't get too confusing, and it also means that I can code the scoring into the challenge as opposed to having to do it manually, because we all know what happens if I do something manually. I'll forget something somewhere, and that would be grossly unfair to a Pokemon if I've missed out or given it extra points compared to what it actually deserved. Now we are at the next level cap and we can take on the rival for one last time. Hopefully he won't cause us too many issues. Sneasel is his lead this time. Screech has failed, that's a very good start, and we are on to Feraligatr. Do we one-shot the Feraligatr with Earthquake? We critical hit, so we do. Whether we should have done or not is a completely different matter. We get rid of the Kadabra, and we can also one-shot the Haunter, but we are now confused. So let's hope we can get through this Magneton without taking too much damage. We end up taking the Future Sight damage there, but it didn't do too much. We are now onto the Golbat. It uses Bite. We don't flinch, and we don't hit ourselves in confusion, and we are through the final regular rival battle. And with that, we are at the Pokemon League. I didn't think we'd make it this far with Rhydon myself, but we have done very well so far. Now, before taking on the League, there are a couple of items I want to pick up. The first being a couple of extra rare candies. Because we're in the slow experience group and we get the candy jar after blue, I think it's going to be much more beneficial to go and grab the extra 2 Jotonian rare candies before going into the league, because that means we have a little bit of more opportunity to increase our levels. So the first was there in Mount Mortar, and then the second, of course, is here in the Whirl Islands. It's been a very long time since I've been in these islands, so I'm going to stick on Flash just to make sure that I don't completely mess up my movement. It lives just in this corner here, and with that we can get out of the islands and we will go and grab our next item, which is living just near Violet City. It could end up being a little bit pointless grabbing this next item, but I want to have it just in case for the Bruno battle. We're going in here, and we are of course going to pick up the Gold Berry, if I can remember which of the 4 plinths it's on. I believe it's this one here. And let's now make our way back to the league. So we have healed up, we will buy our 4 full restores, and then we will take a look at our stats. We are shaping up like this, level 42 with 167 HP, holding the Quick Claw with Earthquake, Body Slam, Sunny Day and Rock Slide. They are the 4 moves we chose at the beginning of this challenge. 145 in attack, 136 in defense, just 75 in the specials and 69 in speed. Do remember these are the outer battle stats. We will get a big buff in battle when we face all of our Elite Four members. Before going into the league, I will make some predictions, and honestly, we could go down at any of the league members. All of them are going to prove to be quite a tough challenge. Our lack of speed really is going to catch up with us here. Will could make us go down by confusing us. Psychic will hit for a lot of damage. Jinx will hit for a lot of damage. Slowbro will hit for a lot of damage. And Executor could hit for quite some damage too. We move on to Koga. We have the type advantage, but once again, we're probably not going to outspeed things like the Crobat. We could end up Toxic stalled. Bruno has the advantage over us and can hit very hard, but we do have fairly decent defense. Bruno's the one I'm most confident about, and we know what Karen's like. Anything could happen there. She's going to have super effective moves on her Vileplume, and we could go down courtesy of Umbreon as well. Let's now see though how much of my predictions are accurate. So up first is Will. He is a Psychic type specialist who's going to lead with Xatu. We do outspeed courtesy of the Quick Claw and we knock it out in one. Up next is Executor, we flinch it and Rock Slide 2 shots. We're onto the Jinx now. We get a Quick Claw proc and we do knock her out in one. Up next is Slowbro. Let's try and Body Slam to paralyze it. It hasn't happened, but he's used Amnesia. We get Psychicked and we get a Spadef drop. Goodness me. Now, are we going to get through the Xatu? We Quick Claw and we knock it out. That was phenomenal, Rhydon. Get yourself your 33rd point. Your 34th point? I mean, your 43rd point. Oh, it's one of those runs, I think. Now, up next is going to be Koga. I think this one is going to be less dangerous than Will, but we got a lot of luck there in the Will battle. We are going to do everything we can to get through this Koga battle. So we'll use 2 of our rare candies now, and we mustn't forget to use a full restore either. And let's now engage him in battle. He is our second Elite Four member, worth another 4 points. Leads with Ariados. We should be fine earthquaking the Ariados. We get rid of it in one. And up second is Fortress. It's probably going to set up spikes. That's fine. It's just a free Pokemon. We one-shot the Muck and we outspeed. I'm not sure if that was a Quick Claw or not. We don't outspeed the Venomoth and we end up supersonicked. Now, I reckon Rock Slide will one-shot this Crobat, and we get the perfect luck again. We didn't get Toxicked, and we hit through the double team. That's another 2 points on the board, taking us up to 48. If we defeat Bruno here, we are going to go past the halfway mark. Quick note in the edit here, it did turn out that the points values were getting added twice in the earlier parts of the league, so we're on 46, not 48 points. In preparation for Bruno, I have used 2 rare candies, so let's now engage him in battle. This is Bruno. He is our 3rd Elite Four member, a fighting type specialist who leads with Hitmontop. We do get the one-shot on Hitmontop with Earthquake. That means we are guaranteed to one-shot the Hitmonlee as well. And up next is Hitmonchan. We don't take guaranteed damage. I thought he was going to Mach Punch there. It's probably going to be a 2-shot on this Machamp. So we'll start with a Body Slam. We've paralysed it, but Cross Chop has hit. He didn't crit, and now he's stuck in a healing loop. We can use 2 further Earthquakes against that, and we outspeed the Onix. We knock it out in one shot, and that is our next set of points. That takes us up to 50 points now, and we are halfway towards completing this challenge. Once again, we are going to use a full restore because we absolutely need it, and we will use 1 more rare candy to get us up to 47. I've also equipped the Soft Sand, and we are also elixired all the way back up for Earthquake. Let's take her on now. She leads with Umbreon. Sand Attack has happened. It was bound to happen eventually. And we are on to Vileplume. We high roll. We get through it. Goodness me. Gengar's next. We're not paralysed by Lick. Here comes Murkrow. We will use a Rock Slide. We knock it out in one. That just leaves Houndoom left to go. Are we going to get through? Earthquake connects. And we are through. Goodness me. I don't know how we did that. I'm sure we shouldn't have outsped that Houndoom. I figured it out. She went for Roar because she saw us have the type advantage over her with 2 of our typings. She went for Roar trying to get rid of us when she really didn't need to. She could have gone for a flamethrower and potentially burnt us. So that definitely was Karen's AI doing a little bit of work for us there and getting us through. And now I've done the prep work for Lance. We don't need to either, of course, Earthquake, because it's useless against all of the Liar with the Flyers Pokemon. However, I have moved Sunny Day into top spot. We're back holding on to the Quick Claw, and we are at level 49. So this is where the run could come to an end. I think if we get through Lance, we've got a good chance of getting a lot more points in Kanto. We will start with a Rock Slide against the Gyarados. It connects, and it does take it out in one. Here comes the first Dragonite. We outspeed, but we don't one-shot. However, we do get a flinch, so it's not all bad. Charizard comes out to play next. It doesn't burn us, and Flamethrower is fairly meaningless. Another Dragonite next. This is the level 50. It's gone for Safeguard. No, I think we'll go for Body Slam on turn 2 as he gets caught in a healing loop to try and get the paralysis off. It didn't happen, but we Quick Claw proc and we are through it. Here comes Aerodactyl. We get another nice Quick Claw activation there, growing up to 50, and we've only got one last 47 Dragonite left to go. We knock it out and we get through Lance with a bloomin' Rhydon of all things that has 2 4x weaknesses, that is slower than anything on the planet, and it thoroughly deserves all of those points it has earned. 64 points on the board, a spot in the Hall of Fame, and don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And now we are rejoining the action, as we always do here in Vermilion City, where we are going to go straight into our first gym. I want to take on Surge now because I think it's going to be a fairly easy set of points, and we won't have to worry about doing him later. In this Kanto section, I've got a feeling, we're just going to have to try and pick off the gym leaders that we know we can defeat, because there are going to be a lot of gym leaders which have water type and grass type moves, so we could go down at any point. Raichu uses quick attack, that's fine by me, it means absolutely nothing. We outspeed the Electabuzz probably because of the Quick Claw, and we knock it out in 1. Here comes some Electro. The only thing they can do is either go Boom, I think, or use Swift. They might not even have Explosion or Self-Destruct. That brings us on to Magneton. We can get rid of it in 1 easy shot, and that is Surge done. First Cantonian points on the board, getting us up to 67 points. Now the next thing we'll do is a little bit of the Kanto storyline, because I want to unlock the other half of Kanto so that we can take on trainers like Blaine. Blaine is probably going to be one of our easier gym leaders to take on, so it makes sense to do him fairly early in the equation so that we can get extra points just in case somebody like Misty becomes very pesky and knocks us out. So we will now grab the machine part from the gym, and we are going to return it to the power plant owner. He's going to give us Zap Cannon, one of my favourite moves. We can learn it, but we're not going to be able to because we've already committed to our moves. And we will now go to Lavender Town in order to receive the Expand card so that we can then wake up that pesky Snorlax here in front of Diglett's Cave, and we can get through to the other part of Kanto. And the first thing we're going to do on this side of Kanto, of course, is battle 3 Drill. He is a friend of the channel, one of the favourite trainers in all of Generation 2, and he's going to give us some very nice experience points, courtesy of his 3 Beedrill there. The Beedrill are doing well, they are getting ready for Christmas. They're wondering what on earth their Christmas presents are going to be this year. With 3 Drill taken care of, that means we can progress further and further in this western part of Kanto. We will activate Blue to get him to his gym. Whether we'll be able to fight him or not is a different matter. He is one of the gym leaders I am not particularly confident about. We'll grab this rare candy and we will use it at some point before Blue if we get there, because we might as well use the remaining rare candies just to get a little bit of extra levels, and we'll take on Blaine while we are here. We'll give him the courtesy of his title card, although I have a feeling, he's not going to do too well against us. We will Earthquake his Magcargo, we're going to Earthquake his Bumphead Fireduck, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to Earthquake the Rapidash as well. 3 one-shots gets us through Blaine, and we now have 70 points to our name. We're about to make that 73 because we are taking on Janine. She is everyone's favourite pushover, the nepotism specialist, who leads with Crobat. Crobat did screech us there, so our defence has dropped, but I think that's going to be the only thing that happens to us in this particular battle. We've got Earthquake for her bulky wheezing, and we can also Earthquake this Venomoth. It should go down in 1 shot. Here comes her second wheezing. We outspeed, we knock it out in 1, and we have defeated Janine to earn 73 points for our Rhydon. We are nearly 3/4 of the way there. Now, in terms of our remaining gym leaders, we've got Brock, Misty, Erica, Sabrina, and Blue left to go. Out of those, I'm thinking Brock is probably going to be easiest. He does have Water-type moves on his fossil Pokemon, but they are not particularly strong special attackers. At least the Kabutops isn't. The Omastar might be able to get off a half-decent Surf. We're just going to have to hope for the best against it. So we will now engage Brock in battle, and we will see how it goes. This is Brock, our next gym leader, worth 76 points, and he leads with Graveler. We will Earthquake against the Graveler, we'll knock it out in one hit, and up next is Rhyhorn. We're going to set up Sunny Day against the Rhyhorn because it's only going for Fury attack, so we are preemptively trying to prevent any of the water-type moves. As it turns out, we outspeed anyway, just because we have 102 in speed, so we didn't need to do that Sunny Day. Thank goodness we aren't against the clock. Brock is easy. We knock out his final 2 Pokémon, we receive the Boulder Badge, we get up to 76 points, and we can move on out of here. Now that leaves us with just 4 gym leaders left, Misty, Erica, Sabrina and Blue. Misty and Erica both have the quad type advantage over us. Sabrina is fast and can hit hard and can stand attack, and then Blue's just going to be a mess all in general. So I'm thinking the next one is going to be Erica. She is a grass type specialist, lives here in Celadon Gym, and she leads with Tangela. We'll start off with a Rock Slide against the Tangela, and thank goodness that was a one shot. I reckon that was a range. We'll Rock Slide the Victory Bell, we'll take it down in 1, and here comes Blossom. Body Slam is probably our best choice against the Blossom. It takes in Sunlight, thank goodness it's a 2-turn move, and then we should be able to Body Slam the Jumpluff to get another 3 points, getting us up to 79 points. That is a lot more points than I expected, and that leaves just 3 gym leaders left to go. It might be silly, but I think we are going to take on Sabrina next. That might be a foolish idea. She is a special attacker, but we don't have a 4x weakness to her. She leads with Espeon. We are going to use Earthquake against the Espeon, and the first stand attack has hit. Psychic is starting to chip away at us. We knock out the Espeon, and we are on to Mr. Mime. Earthquake has missed again as Mr. Mime sets up a barrier and a Reflect. It's all going wrong here. We miss the Earthquake, Psychic hits us, and unfortunately, that is where the run ends. Regardless of getting knocked out there, I am very, very proud of both how I and Rhydon played throughout the course of this challenge. I didn't think we would get past Claire, let alone getting through the league and getting so deep into Kanto. 79 points is an incredibly good effort by Rhydon. Now, if you've got a different strategy for Rhydon and want to play the SuperMON challenge yourself, there will be a link in the description to the SuperMON patch. Let me know, how would you have played Rhydon? Would you have done anything differently? Or do you think, just like us, you would have gone down to RNG towards the end of the challenge? Overall though, I'm happy with this one. I don't think we need to do a redo. I think we lucked our way through an awful lot more of the challenge than we otherwise ought to have done. So I'm going to call it there, and I will say thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this run, please do leave a like. If you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. If you want early access to our SuperMON runs and our time challenge runs, consider joining the HM Friends and becoming a channel member. But until next time, I will say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always, and I'll catch you all very, very soon.